Aid workers and search and rescue teams are still trying to reach rural areas of Nepal where an earthquake has killed thousands of people and left tens of thousands without food, water, or shelter. Hospitals in the capital are overwhelmed by the injured, while rescuers dig with their hands through the rubble to look for the thousands still missing. The United Nations says 8 million people have been affected by the earthquake, with aid pledges pouring in slowly for the victims. Thousands of people in the affected areas spend nights in the open, freezing temperatures and patchy rain. With internet and cell phone communication spotty and many roads closed due to damage, the outside world does not yet have a clear picture of what is most needed. Officials say that the death toll could reach 10,000. The extent of the disaster in Nepal was only just emerging as reports of devastation began to come in from other parts of the country. The first footage from rural Nepal shows mostly flattened villages. Aid groups say that in remote villages many communities were destroyed or are struggling to cope with the devastation. Landslides have hindered rescue teams trying to use mountain trails to reach those in need. The international community has pledged millions of dollars in aid to Nepal, and many governments, including those of neighbors, China, India, and Pakistan, have sent specialist teams to the country. Turkey also contributed to search and rescue efforts and sent emergency aid to Nepal. A Turkish team rescued a 22-year-old male from rubble in Kathmandu. Google and Facebook have created a special app to help people search for and post information about missing friends and family in the disaster zone. Saturday's earthquake was the worst to hit the poor South Asian nation in over 80 years. 8,500 people were killed in the last massive quake in 1934, which was the worst disaster to hit Nepal until the latest quake. Saturday's quake destroyed the old historic part of Kathmandu and was strong enough to be felt across neighboring India, Bangladesh, Tibet, and Pakistan. A total of 60 people died in those other countries. With the government of Nepal asking for more international help, the task ahead is momentous as the earthquake itself. Countless people still have to be found, while countless more have to be fed and cared for, and others have to be buried. The total economic cost of reconstruction in Nepal could top $5 billion, according to an early estimate. The U.S. Geological Survey said the cost of the damage could reach much higher. As the focus begins to shift from the dead to the survivors, aid agencies and officials warn the spread of disease is now the biggest concern. The monsoon season begins in Nepal at the end of May, which could hamper rescue efforts and the feeding and housing of tens of thousands of survivors.